Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This week we're going to talk languages. Now this is my degree, this is what I do, and I hope that I have some kind of interesting, new, fun, fresh advice for you as to how you can get better at languages. You will either feel like you've learnt something, you will take something away from this, or you'll be like, Marley, you're literally just repeating everything that I've ever heard ever. So we'll get into it and we will find out whether I have any advice or any meaningful advice as to how to get better at learning languages. So let's get started with the first of the tips as to how you can get better at languages. The first one, which I rave about, and I'm pretty sure I've mentioned it, no I definitely have, is music. Listen to music in the target language. I swear to God, there is nothing better. This is something that is so, I don't know what the word is, but you don't have to think and you're learning. Like you're vibing and you're learning. You are having a great time, you're having a little dance and you're learning. That's what makes me happy, is that I don't have to do anything. It's so passive. To be fair, I would say that this is like right at the beginning stages of when you're learning a language. Once you get to semi-fluency, it gets a bit more difficult to like actually learn from music because they tend to use the same sorts of words. But right at the beginning, and when you're kind of in your beginning phases of learning a language, listening to music is imperative. This is literally the one reason why I, honest to God, would not know half of the words had I not listened to music right from the outset. It was a lifesaver. I can't even stress that enough. It changed everything because then I was able to think about, so I would hear a word in a song, so amor for example, and they'd be saying this word and I'd be like singing along, and actually I'd be singing along phonetically. You know when you don't know the words to a song but you hear it and you kind of know the vibe and you just kind of sing what you think is happening? That's basically what I would do. And then I would go into the lyrics afterwards and be like, hey, I wonder what word that was, and then I'd learn it in my class next day, and it would all it would join the dots, the dots would join up. The dots would join up. Fine, let's go with that. It just helped, okay? I don't know why I'm getting so happy about this. It's just, that is the one thing that I would say to anyone who is starting a language. Listen to music. And I will be linking my Spanish playlist in the description below because everyone needs that in their life, okay? Everyone needs it. Actually, do you know what? Let me give you a few recommendations because I can give you recommendations on Spanish and French. So here we go. Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny. And for French, Angèle is amazing. I'm just gonna stick with Angèle because I don't have that much to say about French music. Because to be honest, French music is a little bit... some of it is a bit weird. So yeah, you just need to find it, that's the thing. And I think that was the most difficult part, was trying to infiltrate myself into that. Like, I think on social media as well, if you start following accounts, oh my God, another one, okay. This is like a mini tip. Follow meme pages and like TikTok accounts in the language you're wanting to learn. Because half the time you're just interested in the visuals and then the language will just fade into the background, but then you can kind of link up the words when you're seeing them. You know what I'm saying? So the next tip, which kind of follows on from the TikToks, from the social media accounts, finding memes and things, is television shows, TV programs, films. Start watching and listening and trying to absorb the language in any way that you can that's not sitting down and reading a textbook, because honestly that is literally the worst thing you can do. I mean, in my opinion, I've never been able to learn languages like that. It doesn't work for me. It might work for some people, and I know that it does because there are some people who can just sit there and read a grammar textbook and that's their way of doing it. And to be fair, once you get to like a degree level, you do still need to like read textbooks, and that is probably what I need to start doing. It's actually such a crushing realisation when I can't just listen to Bad Bunny and like call it revision. It's so sad. Anywho, there's loads of Spanish and French and German and just Netflix. Just go, like, if you have Netflix, you're sorted. You're literally sorted for life. Just start binge watching TV shows in the language you're trying to learn. You can put subtitles in English, and if once you start getting better, then you can start putting them in the target language. And then on top of it, honestly, like, that's what I love so much, is that you can track your progress because you're the one in control of what the level is essentially. So you start off with the subtitles in English, and then you can go to your language. Then you get to a point where you don't need subtitles, and that is like the most liberating thing, because then you can just sit there on your phone and still be following what's happening. Obviously that will come much later, but good vibes. And to be honest, all of these things that I am going to get actually excited about are the things that you can do passively, that you don't need to actually do anything for, really. It's just do your regular stuff, but just do it in the other language. Another thing I love to do, which is again like a mini tip, a subheading, which doesn't actually fit into the TV bit, so I don't know why I'm mentioning it here. But when you're like doing tasks, say for example you've just had a lesson on your hobbies, okay, you're having a conversation about hobbies with your friends in English. I don't know who has conversations about hobbies, I honestly couldn't tell you, but in your head, if you can sit there and say, this is how I would say it in French or Spanish or German or Italian or blah 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 blah, then you're always going to be kind of translating things and like trying to find out how to say it in your head. That one's a bit rogue because that requires you to be actively thinking about it. I don't really like actively doing anything, so take that one as it comes. I don't like do that regularly. It's just if I find myself thinking about something that's a bit boring or something that I've just learned vocabulary wise, then the perfect thing to do, obviously, where my brain goes is, hey, how can you say that in a different language? I'm so sad. So sad. Okay, so my next tip is actually, I think, everyone talks about this one. Now, I currently am not doing this one, so I should probably take my own advice, but turn your phone into the target language. Now, this is probably going to be much more useful when you actually have reached a certain level, because otherwise you will be confused, and I have made that mistake before where I can't turn it back, because I just didn't know the language well enough to be like, hey, this is the let's reset everything back to normal button. So once you reach a certain level of linguistic ability, I would recommend turning your phone into the language. Now this means you're going to see your Snapchat, your Instagram, your TikTok in the language that you've chosen. And this makes a really big difference because you're seeing words that you have, like, your brain knows what the button is and knows what that means. So for example, the sent button would be the enviar button on whatever messaging app you're using. It's just simple things like that, and then you'll join the dots because your brain will already know that that means send, but it doesn't necessarily know the word for send in Spanish or French or whatever language. So then you're just joining the dots, and then when you see it next time, you'll think, oh, I know what that word means because I saw it on my WhatsApp. I think this might be my last tip, but this is kind of one where it's very much if you can. Now, once you get better at the language you're trying to learn, or even right at the beginning, honestly, all of it is about immersion. You just want to be immersed fully in whatever language you're trying to learn, and that is how you're going to do it. And that's why I say, like, doing things passively, music, TV, whatever it is, turning your phone, that just means that you're always absorbing the language at some point. Also, podcasts, sorry, I'm literally all over the place. Listen to podcasts in the target language, but yes, podcasts in another language are brilliant because they're talking about all different things and you're just interested in the discussion, and even if you can't understand all of it, you're getting the main gist, and it's just really, really good. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so all of these things are about immersion. The best way, more costly way, granted, the more costly way to immerse yourself in a language is to go to a country that speaks that language. Now, whether that be a holiday, whether that be a living abroad, whether that be you're going to work abroad. I was meant to be au pairing in Spain this summer. From what I've heard from friends that have done au pairing, it's such an amazing experience because you are literally having to speak the language and make it on your own essentially without any help. And that's what's so good. You need to kind of be pushed in the deep end with languages because you can't, it's hard because you're having to switch your brain into a different gear essentially, or not necessarily a gear, you're switching into another language. Immersion. I'm gonna say it again. Immersion. You just need to find a way, and that obviously comes with financial, economic, structural, I don't know, difficulties, boundaries. However, if you can, do it. Like, there is nothing that is going to accelerate your skills in whatever language you're trying to learn more than if you're in the country. If you're having to order a plumber to your house, and you've never done that before, that is going to test you and push your limits as to what you can say. And also it's going to make you find new vocabulary all the time, because you're never going to have spoken about doing the dishes before if you're learning a language for the first time. But when you're living in a household with other people and you're trying to sort out a rota, a timetable, and blah 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 blah, you're going to have to find all this vocab, and you're not going to get it out of nowhere. So I got you. So I think that might be my final tip. I'm sure there are more. Oh god, I've got the last one to do, which is really boring. Okay, so I've talked about immersion. I've done it, okay? We know, Marley wants to immerse herself in the language. We know that. But we can't ignore the fact that vocabulary is important and grammar is also important. Obviously, like when you're learning a language, you will be doing that stuff in classes or wherever you are learning this language. But I have to confess something. You will need to do extra vocab learning at home, and Quizlet is the one for that. I'm not going to talk too much about it because I think it's just the well-known, it's just a good one. Everyone knows Quizlet is just banging for all of that stuff, like learning things. I don't enjoy it, but it will help you. Yeah, I have nothing else to say on that because I do not like it enough to talk. I think that brings me to the end of this video. I really hope that something here has been helpful. I hope that you are going to have a brilliant language learning experience from now on, because you've got all of these wisdoms, all of this wisdom that has been imparted that you can now take forward and
vive la revolution.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you next week with another video.